What's up, guys? Week 17, Tennessee Titans. Let's talk about it. Come on, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into it, man. Week 17, we saw the Texans play the Tennessee Titans here at home in NRG Stadium. Man, we finally got to see CJ Stroud back. It was great to see him healthy again and play like we know CJ could play. To see the offense in the nice, steady, calming hands of the rookie. It was a great pleasure to see CJ out there on the field, and he actually did things well enough that they could actually bring in Davis Mills at the end of the game, man. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. What we saw on the field today, man, was just immaculate, man. It was incredible. I appreciate the fact that when I can watch the Texans win, and it's a game where it's enough of a blowout that I can kind of sit back and relax and chill, man. I actually left and went shopping for a little while and was watching the game on my phone, man. So I got to really enjoy the game because the game was pretty much out of control or out of hand after the first half, man. Shout out to the defense, man. They did their thing, man. A great it's a great focal point that we can focus on the defense showing up, showing out, having 6 sacks, knocking a quarterback out of the game, basically holding it down for the whole second half of the game and turning it into something where we don't have to really even sweat it, moving forward. We don't get very many of those games as a Texans fans. We don't get very many of those games, in any substantial amount throughout the year. So this is one of those times that we needed it, and with the fact that we're getting ready to face Indy coming up next, basically for a chance to make it to the playoffs. We needed one of these type of games so we can get as much rest as possible, man. So we got a lot of guys that came back off of injuries. We had a lot of guys that we needed those bodies on the field. Of course, we got K-Jack before the game to come join because we claimed him off of waivers. So that was dope. As I talked about in the pregame or the pregame prediction, it was dope that we got to see some of these old faces that are back in town. Of course, we had D-Hop that was back here. Vrabel, it is what it is, but by the time the game was over with, Vrabel was looking like he was reconsidering what he was doing with his life, man. He looked like he was very stressed. But as far as the gameplay, man, we saw an immaculate performance out there on the field by the defense. I can't say really the same thing for the offense. There were fits and starts. Of course, we got it going pretty good. Brevin Jordan represented. He got a touchdown. I think we're going to need to see a lot more of him as we move forward because of the amount of injuries that we have. We don't have the constant presence of Noah Brown. We don't have the constant representation for Xavier Hutchinson, and of course, our guy that John Mechie is still battling to try to come back and perform like a top flight athlete, to be honest with you. So we're not able to see the true depth of our wide receiver roster right now. We did have some decent performance from them. Nico Collins, of course, did his thing representing as number one, but after Nico Collins, man, there's a tremendous drop off in what we're getting in the game plan. And so Nico Collins had a great game, man. CJ was definitely able to find him and get some good passes to him. I think that was necessary for what we were bringing to the offense. Of course, Devin Singletary was the main commodity out of running back position. I think moving forward, man, like Devin Singletary is definitely gonna have to be the focal point, man. Like I said, man, we're struggling with the wide receiver situation based off of the injuries. When they are present, they are playing and they're playing well. But if and when they are not present, then that's going to be a problem. And if we are, talking playoffs, which I'm trying to get ahead of myself a little bit, but if we're talking playoffs, that's something that we're definitely going to need. So defensively, man, it was good to see Will Anderson Jr. back out there on the field. I know he's been dealing with a high ankle sprain, man, but he played 12 snaps and made the most out of those 12 snaps, man. He got some good pressures going on. 2 sacks back-to-back against Ryan Tannehill after we had already knocked out Will Levis out of the game. There was a sack early in the game, and I can't think of who off the top of my head got the credit for the sack. I think I want to say it was Grenard, but I'm blanking out on that. I don't think it was Grenard, but We got a sack in the early part of the game, which actually led to Sheldon Rankin picking it up and running in for a touchdown, which was super dope to see my man out there doing the shoulder shimmy. He's a big man. It was pretty dope to see that, man. And you know, the defense played well, man. 6 sacks. They were definitely pressuring. They were definitely attacking. Probably could have been a little bit more meat on the bone, per se, but they didn't really need it. If that makes sense. It was one of those games where once you knocked out Will Levis, once you knocked out Will Levis, then pretty much their offense goes downhill. I mean, D Hop had, I think he had 7 catches. So he performed well in his return back to NRG. That was to be expected, to be honest with you. D Hop is going to show out because D Hop does D Hop things, no matter what his age is. And I think we got a good break on that the last time we played them because we did a good job of the secondary did a good job of shutting D Hop down and making the focal point some other receivers. But we did a fantastic job once again, on shutting down Derrick Henry, man. That was tremendous, man. I mean, of course, we weren't going to get the same type of defensive performance against Derrick Henry that we had previously. I think that was just too much to ask for. I mean, what we did with him previously in the previous game in week, hell, I can't remember the weeks at this point in time. I think week 15. What we did against Derrick Henry previously was like a record-breaking performance, man. So we needed one of those to offset what we had in all of the previous games the prior games. And then to get another performance like this, another quality performance to stop Derrick Henry from doing literally anything was tremendous, man. So you can see right now, man, that D'Amico Ryans' defense is taking up, the mantle for him. We, of course, got new blood in on the defensive line, which was necessary in Tavier Taft. I think it's Tavier. I can't remember. Tart. Blanking out on these guys' names. It's crazy. But we got new blood on the defensive line. That was something that was absolutely necessary. You can see D'Amico, man, is like the lifeblood of the team, man. He's charged up every time the defense is out there doing something spectacular. And then you can also see with the transition moving back to CJ that once CJ's in the game, man, the offense flows a lot smoother. You can tell it's just a different level. I mean, for all of those, Davis Mills, Mafia folks, man, you can just, I don't know what you're holding out hope for, man. You can see that there's just a constant level that's just the next level up from what Davis Mills can bring to the table. So we got to see Davis Mills at the end of the game. That's for me. That's all I ever want to see Davis Mills perform. He can be a competent backup. He can play at the end of games or whatever, but I don't want to see him starting for the Texans ever again if I can help it, man. Unless it's something where we railroading somebody like this game, man, I don't want to see him performing on the field again, man. So let's see if I can get back into my focus on my notes here. The CJ effect is legit, man. I think he's a calming source. I think he wants to put focus on the playoffs. I don't think that he's going to back down on that, man. And I mean, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that we absolutely need to have happen. That we have some player that comes in here with the constant mindset that, just getting to a double-digit win season isn't enough. Just getting to, let's start here. Just getting above 500 isn't enough. Getting to a double-digit win season is not enough. We need to get into the playoffs, and we need to do something in the playoffs. And I think that that's where CJ comes in with that Ohio State mindset, and he's coming in to be a championship, a champion, and a leader. We need that. We haven't had that in so long, man. And so what I'm definitely looking forward to once we get to playing Indy is that we're going to go into the mindset that we're going to come and take this. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't afford to lose, period. End of discussion. Like, there is no outcome that allows for us to lose and make it into the playoffs. That's the end of the season if we don't. And I ain't trying to hear, good job, good effort. I ain't trying to hear, we'll get them next year. I ain't trying to hear none of this stuff. I've been conditioned with old school days, since we're talking about the Titans, old school days of the Houston Oilers, where I saw Warren Moon coming off the field. As a little boy, I saw Warren Moon coming off the field and being interviewed, and he's like, well, we gave it a good shot, and, we'll get them next year. That next year never came. Warren, you owe us on that, man. That next year never came, man. So now CJ it's on him to make these type of things happen and change the tenor of what our team is getting ready to do. And I think that he's laying a framework for what's going to be a spectacular career, man. Like, this is something that I look forward to. I know you guys are looking forward to. It's something that this has been like one of the most enjoyable seasons that I've had in a long time. I know that a lot of question comes up as to whether or not this is a successful season. If we lose, is this a successful season? In my opinion, it absolutely is, because we're already playing with house money. We're sitting here at 9 wins, like we're already playing with house money, man. Like, come on, man. We're sitting here looking right at this opportunity to get into the playoffs and actually do something in the playoffs. Now, I know that our roster isn't necessarily chock full of talent top to bottom. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not one of those things that we can sit here from a luxurious position of, this is where we're gonna be settled moving forward. But this is year one. As far as I'm concerned, this is year one. You know what I'm saying? From the ground up, build up, this is year one. We have a great opportunity to take our draft picks moving forward. Definitely, we have a great opportunity to acquire free agents moving forward. I think with CJ being here alone, it's going to be some guys out there that will be clamoring to come to Houston and come play for us. Wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, defensive players, defensive backs, you name it. It's going to be guys coming here that's going to be clamoring for the opportunity to play with CJ Stroud and see what the fuss is really all about, man. And I'm here for it. Number one, I'm here for it, man. Listen, after the game, there was some videos that came out, man. Of course, I'm in tune with a lot of things that's going down on Twitter, man. Shout out to Figgy Fig from Sports Radio 610. Figgy Fig posted a video that was basically the Queen, Hannah McNair, walking down the tunnel.
What's up? Sweeping. Oh,
Get a
and she was doing a little. She was giving the Tennessee Titans a little gruff, man, and I appreciate that, man. Like, she was sitting there telling the Tennessee Titans, talking about who got swept. And listen, if you saw what happened in Tennessee, if you saw what happened with them, flipping the whole script with the jerseys and the stands and the oil derricks all over the fields, the oil is everywhere in the stadium and all of that stuff there. It was definite that they were doing this to try to stick us in the craw a little bit with the showsman, what they call it, the showmanship. Yeah, the showmanship of the flair of doing all of this to Houston and putting that in our face. So it's well deserved that Hannah can get out there, man, and give it right back to him, man, with her talking about they getting swept. And I much appreciate that, man. Listen, I want to give some love to Hannah McNair, man, real quick, because she has done an outstanding job, and I'm giving her credit because, Cal McNair had spent a couple years here where, being that he was the guy in charge of the organization, he was kind of just letting things happen, man, and I didn't really like that, to be honest with you. The fans were clamoring for change. People were talking about, sell the team, all of this stuff here, man. It just seemed like he was asleep at the wheel. And all of a sudden, Hannah McNair comes out of the blue, and she's just kind of gently guided Cal into doing some things that, all of a sudden it looks better for the team, and it looks better for Cal, to be honest with you, because now Cal is out here kissing, shaking hands and kissing babies. He's, in the preseason, in one of the training camps, I think the two of the training camp events, he was out there on the barbecue pit, grilling up hot dogs and burgers for the fans and stuff like that. He's making himself more visual. He's making himself, more visible. He's making himself more vocal. He's being more up front and center, and every time he shows up, Hannah is right there with him, man. So whenever he says something that might not be the complete thought, or he might see, he might say something that falls just a little bit short, she's there to kind of push it over the top, or give that little extra correction that needs to be done, or one of those little things that might not seem like much, but she's in full support of her husband and the fans and the team and the organization. And man, it's just one of those things where there was a little gap that was that was missing between the lack of information that was coming out from Cal, the lack of information that was coming out about Jack Easterby and all of these other guys, and there was just a whole void of information that was going out, and we didn't know what was going on as fans. We just kind of were like, who's in control, who's in charge? And so it was nice to see that Hannah is coming to fill that gap and been able to provide folks, with information, continuity, content. I mean, it's been very, very nice, man. So huge shout out to Hannah McNair, man. I definitely want to show the Queen some love, man. Keep doing what you do, man. We appreciate you out there, and then, looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do with the team next, man. If you're the person that's kind of puppeteering what's going on, hey, we'll take it because it's so far so good. Like it's really looking good, man. Shout out to Nick Casario as well. I know he's not getting all the love he deserves for putting this roster together and getting these players and snatching folks off of waivers and all of these different things. Man, he has made a whole lot of chicken salad out of a lot of chicken, if you know what I mean. So I think a lot of that kind of flies under the radar because everybody's so concerned with, the roster moves that he's made pertaining to the draft. But they're not looking at the full scope of everything that he's done between the practice squads, injuries, waiver claims, cuts that were required or whatever. Like he's made a lot of good moves that have worked out over the long term of the season. He's made a net positive of moves that are out here to be made. So shout out to Nick Casario as well, but most importantly, shout out to D'Amico Ryans for doing the job that you do, bro. Like we love to have you back. We so glad that you're here, man, and we love the work that you're putting in out there, man. So let's just kind of look forward to the Indianapolis game real quick. Number one, where are we gonna get offense from, right? Like that's the main concern. If CJ's health is great, we love to have him back, but who's he tossing the rock to, man? Like Nico's there, cool. If Robert Woods is there, cool. But Robert Woods has been dealing with injury too. If Noah Brown is there, cool. But we have, after Nico Collins, so many guys with injuries that it's a major concern that we don't have that void to fill. Outside of that, you look at our tight end room, we actually played Brevin Jordan at fullback / tight end this last game because Andrew Beck was out. And we didn't really consider how important Andrew Beck has been. Andrew Beck has probably been one of the few guys all season that's got a touchdown catch, a touchdown run, and a kickoff return for a touchdown, oddly enough. But Andrew Beck, Brevin Jordan, and the guy that I could probably give the most hell about, Dalton Schultz, man. Like these guys are going to have to step up in the receiving roles to try to see if they can kind of compensate on what we might be missing from the lack of depth with the injuries that's happening to the wide receivers. So that part, hopefully we can cover. We can make that solidified. Obviously, with the running back situation, we got Devin Singletary. He's doing dynamite great, but we still have Damian Pierce, and Damian Pierce still hasn't provided us exactly what's going on with him. Like we don't have a real clear solution as to what's his issue. So if Devin Singletary were to go down, which knock on wood that doesn't happen, if Devin Singletary was to go down, we need to know what's going to happen in that backfield, man. So hopefully DP can step his game up and we can do something solid with him moving forward. I think Indy's offense is something that can be stopped and contained as long as we have our secondary represented in the backfield. We got Stingley back. We have K-Jack back there to kind of help solidify things and keep things under control. Petrie's still back there, although he's kind of been up and down all season. I'm blanking out on somebody. Steven Nelson, hopefully he's good and back to health or whatnot. But we need to solidify what's going on so we can stop the passing game, in my opinion, more importantly than anything else. Of course, they've had injuries just as much as we've had injuries. I think that our defensive front line is going to definitely show up and put some pressure in the right places where, when it needs to happen. The linebacking, it's been great at times. It's been terrible at times. What are we going to see out there in the field? What I do know is we're not going to see the same team that we saw in week 2. We're not going to see that team that played up against Anthony Richardson and just basically hadn't figured themselves out. We are playing with a different team right now. That this team is definitely, they know who they are and what they have. It's just a matter of who's present and who's available. That's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? So I look forward to seeing what the next game is going to bring us. It's a primetime game. So, we were waiting on that to happen because we had that TBD that was on the preseason schedule. So this has actually been announced that it's going to be a primetime game on Saturday. Saturday at 7:15 or whatever. So it's going to be our first opportunity to see us, perform in the evening and the lights in front of the nation. Hey, like what are we gonna bring? Historically, listen, I'll be honest with you, as Texas fan of rehab, I have been very worried about these primetime games because we haven't necessarily stepped up and performed on a consistent basis. We've had games like the game, I believe we were playing the Jaguars where, God dog it, his name is escaping me. Well, my man was damn it, his name is escaping me, man. I could see his face and everything, whatever. But we had a few games where prime time and the lights that we showed up and we showed out. Most of that happened during the time of Matt Schaub, Arian Foster, Andre Johnson, J.J. Watt, that whole thing. Well, we're in a different phase now, and obviously every time since then it's kind of been trash. But we're in a different phase now, man. So hopefully we can get some real classic, like this is gonna be one of those games that we come out of and show, basically put our nuts on the table and show what we can do. Excuse my French for those that might be watching. But I look forward to seeing what we're gonna bring to the game. It's gonna be on a Saturday, and you know what, man? We win, I might even go to church on Sunday. I know my folks might love to hear that, man. So anyway, I'm gonna go and wrap all of this up, man. I appreciate y'all joining in and watching with me. Hey, man, if you could, hit the button, like and subscribe, man. Share this with your people if you can. I'm trying to get my followers up, man. I'm pretty low right now, but I'd like to get up pretty good, before the end of the season. God willing, the season isn't, this next game. The season after this next game will be a problem. But I'll still be putting out content all throughout the off season, man. I have enjoyed this run. This has been like fantastic for me, man. Give me, even cathartic, if you will, because being able to get this energy out and be able to just enjoy being a fan again of this team. I've always been a fan, obviously, but like being able to really enjoy what this team has been putting out there on the field, the product on the field has just been amazing. I've been to more games this year than I've been in the last 5 years combined, and that's been dope, man. So, huge shout out to the Houston Texans, man. Love you guys, love everything that you guys stand for. I'm always committed to being a fan, and for all the fans that are out there, man, till next time, man. Texas Fan of Rehab, I'm out.